Hi everyone, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf. This video is going to be a full face of absolutely nothing new. All of these products I've either talked about on my channel before, used on my channel before, worn on my channel before, or I've already had in my collection, but I've not used on my channel before. So it's all stuff that I've already had, and it may be all stuff that you already have in your collection. I just thought I would have a break from all of the new stuff because there's been a lot of it and there'll be a lot of it to come as well. So we're going to get on with this. It's going to be a very relaxed video. If you like those sorts of videos, please make sure you have subscribed to my channel and also click the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. I do 2 to 3 videos here on YouTube every single week, and I'm also on Instagram if you fancy checking me out over there as well. So let's get straight on with the eye look. You will have already noticed I've had a bit of a hair chop. I've had a lot of a hair chop actually. It's really short, isn't it? It's really short. So I just gave my head over to Laura again and said I need quite a lot chopping off this time because the ends were really straggly. I haven't been looking after my hair recently. She recommended some products to me which I adore at the moment, so they will probably be featuring in my faves and fails coming up very soon. But yeah, no denying it's a lot shorter than it was. So I really like it though. What do you think? Let me know. So I'm going to take my Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion in the shade Original. If you have a skin tone that is slightly deeper than mine, they do come in other shades as well. So I thought I would do my eye makeup first, even though the eye makeup that I'm going to apply today, the eyeshadow, does not fall onto the cheeks at all. It's really good quality eyeshadow. So you don't need masses of this, you just need to make sure that you've got a light layer on. So the eyeshadow palette I'm going to be using today is one from Charlotte Tilbury, and these are just beautiful. This is the Pillow Talk Instant Eye Palette. Beautiful shades in here. I've got to be completely honest, I very rarely use the pinky shades down at the end here, but all of the other ones, absolutely phenomenal. And it's just personal preference why I don't use the super pinky shades. It's just, not really my thing. I'm more of a neutral kind of gal. So I'm going to take this shade here, which is a really beautiful transition shade. The Charlotte Tilbury shadows, if you've never tried them before, are so creamy and beautiful. You do not get any kickback in the pan. Even if you really swirl your brush in here, it's not going to fly around all over the place. These are not super dry shadows. They're just divine, absolutely divine. So I'm just going to create a little bit more depth in that outer crease and just slightly above as well. I'm going to create quite a natural look. It's not going to be over the top today, but it is going to have a bit of sparkle. So once I'm done, I'm going to take some of this shade here, which is like a dusky rose type shade. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm just going to put that slightly further in, and then I put the other shade and slightly lower. So I'm really concentrating on that crease and not buffing that above the crease. I really love this shade. It just gives a bit of life to the look. It's a bit of a face brightener. Really like it. So once that's completed, I'm just going to take a really clean, fluffy brush. This is the Psychic from XX Revolution, and I'm just going to buff that all the way around the edge just to make sure that it's just blended really seamlessly. I want a very soft look today. Okay, so that is where I'm going to leave this palette here. I will go back in it to do the lower lash line a little bit later on, but I'm going to go into one of the jewel pots now. This is in the shade Pillow Talk. These are subtle but stunning. So it's just a wash of glittery just goodness. Just absolutely stunning. So I'm just popping my finger in there and giving it a bit of a swirl. And then I'm going to press that on the eyelid. Can you see how that is just so super subtle, but it just adds that hint of sparkle? I really like it. So it does have a bit of pigment in here. It's got a nice pinky sheen, but the majority of it is just that beautiful wash of glitter, and I just think it's stunning. So in different lights, it's going to look completely different. So when the light catches, you're just going to get that glimmer of glitter on the skin, and yet in other lighting, you're going to see the pigment and the more pinky hues on the surface of the eyelid. It's just gorgeous. Okay, let's move on to foundation. Now, I've had some questions about foundation recently because I did a full face of favorites the other day, and I am going to do my affordable favorites video very, very soon. But in that video, I wore the Dior Forever Natural Nude, and because I wore that, I got a lot of questions. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the Natural Nude, or do you prefer the Forever Skin Glow? What about the Chantecaille foundation that you absolutely rave about? Well, I cannot answer that question because I adore all of these. So I'm going to wear the Chantecaille foundation in this video. I actually went out with Wes and a few friends at the weekend, and I wore this, and it's just the most beautiful foundation, and it wears really well. Really, really well. So this is the one that I'm going to wear today. I wouldn't be without any of them. I think the Natural Nude has sort of taken over from the Skin Glow for the main reason that this wears a little better. Even though this wears absolutely perfectly on my skin, this just wears for a little bit longer. It's slightly more natural. It's not as glowy as the Skin Glow, which is another reason that I really, really like it, but I love them all. I love them all. Being very greedy here. So I am going to use the Chantecaille Future Skin Foundation. Again, absolutely love the Cushion Foundation as well, but this one's got slightly more coverage, and I just feel like I want that look today. So how are you all? I feel like I've taken my eye off the ball slightly when it comes to the comment section, because there aren't enough hours in the day to get through absolutely every single comment. So what I've started doing now is I've started replying to the comments that I get within the first 24 hours. But because of that, I feel like I've missed out on how you've all been getting on and, you know, what you've been up to. So if you've had any life-changing events recently, or you're super excited about something that you'd like to share with everybody, then do let everybody know in the comment section. I know we all absolutely love to stay connected and know a little bit more about one another. Such a great foundation, which doesn't look like foundation. I mean, you wouldn't bump into me on the street and think, wow, she's got a lot of makeup on. You can still see the freckles poking through this, and yet it's a very, very natural finish. It's just even my skin tone out, and it will wear really, really well throughout the day. So yeah, absolutely love it. Let's move on to under eyes. Now I'm going to place a little bit of color corrector underneath my eyes, and I'm going to use the Revolution Conceal and Correct for that job. It's such an excellent color corrector, and it's also super affordable. So I'm just going to place one dot to start off with. You can always build it up, but I don't want to apply too much. And I'm going to place that where I need it. So I'm not placing it all the way underneath the eye. Got a little bit of discoloration on that inner corner, so I'm placing a bit there. And just stopping about here and just concentrating on this bluey purpley tinge that's poking through the skin. Okay, so the concealer that I'm going to use is one that I used to use very frequently and then stopped using because it was the wrong shade for me and I needed to go out and buy the correct shade. And it just, you know, got put in a drawer and I completely forgot about it. So this is from NARS and it is their creamy concealer. I love this. This is such a great concealer. It's featured in my best concealer videos in the past. And I don't know why I didn't go out and get my shade sooner. My shade, by the way, is Light 2, which is vanilla. You need very little of this. Pat McGrath is still my ultimate favourite because it gives that seriously full coverage. I would say this gives medium coverage. It is buildable, but if you do have those fine lines and wrinkles, I would suggest that you only take it to medium coverage. Otherwise, Any concealer that is not super full coverage to begin with is going to crease if you keep building it up. So I like this one, and I'm just going to pop 2 dots there to begin with. And then I'm going to take my concealer brush and just start once again just tapping that in place where I want it. So once I've allowed that to dry down just a little bit, I'm just going to go over it with a damp blending sponge, but not put very much pressure on it at all. This is literally just to smooth the edges and make sure that everything is blended beautifully. A lot of people don't like this step because they feel like it removes some of the coverage. You can always go back in again and add a little more product, but I find that if I don't apply a lot of pressure, it doesn't tend to remove very much at all. Just makes a really smooth finish. So I'm going to go into another NARS product to set that in place. This is one of the NARS cult favorites. It's the Light Reflecting Pressed Setting Powder in the shade Crystal. It is translucent, so you're not going to get that white sheen underneath the skin, but if you do have much deeper skin tone than mine, they do this in a darker shade as well. I thought this was going to be very similar to the Pat McGrath Blurring Under Eye Powder, but it's actually not. This is much softer in consistency, so although it's a pressed powder, it's very easy to get this on your damp sponge or on a brush. It breaks up quite easily, whereas this is seriously pressed. I mean, it's very, very hard in consistency. It's still quite easy to get onto your sponge, but yeah, it's very, very hard. So I'm just going to press that underneath my eye. It's very brightening. It has light reflecting particles in here, but it's not going to give you that shimmery look underneath the eye like you're pretending to be a glitter ball. It's not going to do that. So while that's settling, I'm just going to dip back into this dusky rose shade here and just do the outer edge on the lower lash line, and I am going to keep it right to that outer edge. I just want to connect the dots. I'm not going to go all the way underneath my eye today. I want to try and keep this as natural looking as possible. Okay, so brows, you know which product I'm going to use. I'm going to fill my brows in with the NYX Microbrow pencil in the shade Ash Brown, and I'm just going to do that quite quickly. And then once that's all filled in how I want to, I move on to my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze, which I am absolutely loving at the moment. Okay, so for this, I use my Anastasia Beverly Hills 7B brush. This is absolutely fantastic, and it has a spoolie on the end which you can flip up, which is really, really useful when you've got the product. So as you can see, I've used this product quite a lot. It's got a lot of dints in, so I just press this into the product and then style my brows as I want to. Now, you don't need to stick your brows on end. That's not always what this product is for. It's just a styling wax, so you can place your brows however you want them. So I absolutely love this because it's really quick, it's really easy to use, and your brows stay. Now, they will fall slightly, so this is much more of a softer look than a rigid glued on look, which is why I like it. But yeah, they will stay where you want them pretty much. So once I have used the brow freeze, I'm just gonna go in and dot anywhere where I feel I need to fill in a bit more. I like more of a natural look, so I don't like to fill them in too much, but any really noticeable bald spots, I just like to dot my pencil in. I have been asked a couple of questions recently about the brow freeze. Do you apply the brow freeze first and then do your brows filling in, or do you do it the other way around? You can do it either way, but I find it easier to fill the brows in first to get the shape that you want, and then use the Brow Freeze, because the Brow Freeze will leave a coating on the skin. So it is slightly more difficult to add that brow shade in over the top of the Brow Freeze. So once my brows are completed, I'm going to really subtly contour my cheekbones because I like them to pop a little bit more, but I don't want it to be super noticeable. So the product I'm going to be using is from Wayne Goss. This is covered in fingerprints. It's well used. I've never actually used this on my channel before or spoken about it, but it is a great product. Now, the reason I've chosen to use this in my video today is because Beautylish are going to be having a sale, and you're going to be able to get quite a considerable discount on all the Wayne Goss products. So I wanted to show you this one now, just in case you were wondering whether you wanted to pick it up or not. If you've been wanting to get any of the Wayne Goss lip products, the eye palettes, the face palettes, this weekend is probably the time to do it. So I think it starts on Friday. So this is one of Wayne's Radiance Boosting Face Palettes. I have it in the shade Light Gold. It's the Bronze and Sculpt. This is probably the best contour shade I have ever had for my face, because contour shades for me tend to be a little bit too dark, and as you can see, I have fair skin. So I like to take quite a pointy brush so that I can really be light-handed and get this exactly where I want it. This is the Refa 18 brush, and I dip into the contour shade. These aren't going to give you masses of kickback once again. Really buttery, really creamy formulas. They're just beautiful. Really, really lovely. Wouldn't expect anything less. And I'm just going to take it right at that outer edge. I don't like a lot of contour. I just like to keep it quite high up and towards the outer. So right there, just to give me a little bit of lift, but not too much. And then I'm going to blend that upwards. Really, really like this palette. I can give or take this one. This is a summery shade for me. This isn't an all year round shade. Because my skin is so fair, this is actually slightly too gold and slightly too deep for my natural skin tone. But in summer, beautiful. And it does give that gorgeous radiant sheen to the face. I actually wouldn't pop this all over the face like I've seen some people do. I would just stick to the high portions of my face just to give that bit of a glow and use it more as a highlighter than an all over face radiance boosting glowy powder. So once I've done the contour, and it is a very delicate contour, there are no stripes on my face. It's really, really easy to blend this. I'm going to go into another Charlotte Tilbury product. This is the Filmstar Bronze and Glow, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. One of my favourite bronzers of all time. This is in light to medium. Absolutely love it. I'm going to actually take a really large fluffy brush. I don't want there to be masses of colour payoff on my face. Again, I want it to be quite natural, so I'm using a larger brush and just buffing that into the perimeter of the face, just to give myself a bit of glow. So before I move on to mascara, I'm just going to take one of the Wayne Goss Essential Eye Kohl pencils. This is in the shade Rich Hazel. And I'm just going to run it across that upper waterline just to help make my upper lashes look a little thicker. So I'm going to use the Bad Gal Bang mascara. I love this. And it's super black. If you have really oily eyelids, you are going to have to powder the upper lids to stop this from transferring, because although it says that it won't transfer, I find that it does. Especially if you're in a really humid, hot country, this will transfer. Okay, let's move on to blush, my favourite part of any makeup. This is one that I haven't used on my channel before, but I've had it in my collection for quite a while. Again, another one of the NARS staple items, and it's in the shade Orgasm. This is so beautiful. I have it in the liquid, and I've used that several times on my channel before, but I don't think I've ever used the powder. So I'm going to take quite a fluffy brush again, just dab into that. You need to be very, very gentle when you're dabbing into the product because it is quite pigmented. So you can build this up, but I'd prefer not to have to buff it out with translucent powder to try and get rid of it and soften it. So, so pretty. So this is such a beautiful shade. I'm not quite sure why I've not used the powder on my channel before. Like I said, I have it in the liquid. I also have it in one of the multiples. It's just so lovely. All in the shade Orgasm. I may have an orgasm overkill. Can that ever happen? No. Anyway, just to let you know that this is a really radiant finish and it does have some glitter particles in there. So if you are not one for glitter on the cheeks, this may not be for you. There is a really nice shimmer on the cheek and it's like a goldy shimmer, even though this is a pink blush. Looks really, really youthful and glowy and I love it. Let's move on to lips. I'm going to use the MAC lip pencil in the shade Boldly Bare, which is a great natural shade for me just to outline my lips. Trying to talk whilst doing lip liner doesn't work. Note to self. This is so overly creamy. It's beautiful, really pigmented. It's not overly waxy, so you're not going to get that drag on the lip. You're also not going to get parts of the lip that look like they've got loads of lip liner on and parts of the lip that look like they've got none on. It's not that sort of a waxy formula. Really pretty. I wouldn't be without this now. Once I found it, it was my go-to. It's definitely my ride or die. Moving on to lips, this next product featured in my Why Have I Not Tried It Sooner video. If you haven't seen that already, I will link it up here and also in the description box for you. This was recommended to me by my friend Stephanie Marie, and I have had it in so many videos since. I may not have mentioned it in every single video, but if you look in the description box, this is probably the lip product that I've had on, and I now have it in several shades. This is the lip product that I had on when we went out on Saturday afternoon. I probably put this on about 3:30, and when we got home about 8 o'clock that evening, it was still fully intact, and I'd been eating, I'd been drinking. It's just amazing. This is from Chanel and it's in the shade Endless Pink. It's a lovely neutral, but they do these in so many different shades. There will be something for everyone. So you need to make sure that your lips are completely dry before you apply this. So don't apply any sort of balms or creams to the lip. Apply this to a completely dry lip. And then once you've let it dry down for a minute, and it takes very little time to dry down, it's completely touch dry now. It doesn't feel drying in the slightest. It actually feels like a creamy lipstick would on your lips. Very nice. Quite nourishing. I'm going to apply the gloss over the top. And this gloss seriously sticks. So my lips still looked glossy after eating and drinking. This is the portion of this lipstick though that I will have to keep applying throughout the day, but very infrequently. It's not like an every hour job. It's more like an every 3-hourly job. Oh, it feels so nice. You know what it feels like? It feels expensive. Unfortunately, it also is. So that's the finished look for today. I absolutely love it. It's really sparkly and yet natural and girly all at the same time. Let me know if you already have any of these products in your collection. Do you really love them? Do you not get on with them? Let everybody know in the comments section, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.